Hey, welcome back to the channel. In this video, I'm going to show you how to do a knockdown texture repair. I'll do a little mud work and then I'm going to use the knockdown texture sponge to match the knockdown texture on these bathroom walls. I'll also show you the proper primer to use so you don't get any flashing when it's time to paint. And if you're new here, my name's Paul and I've been doing drywall and painting as a contractor for the last 22 years. If you want to amplify your drywall skills and learn how to match textures, subscribe now to keep up with all my latest videos. I'm here at a local stereo shop to repair a water damaged ceiling and also repair a knockdown texture on the wall where they had removed some shelves. So the first thing I'm going to do, I've already got the drywall on the ceiling. I'm going to scrape any high spots where paint had built up or anything from where the shelving was. Next, I'm going to mix up some 20-minute mud. I'm not going to show you the whole process. I'll put a card at the top of the screen for that video. So I'm just going to put it on my 12-inch knife and pull it across where I need the mud. Try to keep it flat. Don't pile up the mud. If you play it right, you can get this in one coat. Not really a big area to cover, just where some paint had built up from the shells being there for years. Also going to fill a couple screw holes or toggle bolt holes that were there as well. I'm going to hit all this with the knockdown texture sponge once it dries and I sand it. Alright, so I'm going to use my sanding sponge. It's a little tore up from on these knockdown texture walls. It's a 100 grit sanding sponge. It's easy to use and it contours in between the existing texture, so that all the lines, that's basically what I'm doing, is trying to get rid of all the lines. I like to feel it with my hand, and if there's any dips or lines, you can just sand them out. If the dip's too big, you're going to need to do another coat over the area. Try and keep it at a minimum though. I just wanted to show you the whole process so you at home can do it as well. Alright, I got a couple spots over here. I got the plastic up because they put a brand new vanity in the bathroom before they called me to fix their water damaged ceiling and knockdown texture. Alright, so here's the knockdown texture sponge. I'll leave a link in the description where you can get one of those. Basically, you just want to get the joint compound. It's thinned down just a little bit with water to get the air bubbles out and get it nice and creamy. You just want to get it on the sponge and dab and pull. It's pretty simple to use. Dab and pull. When you pull it, it creates like a stalactite. That's what you want to knock down to create the knockdown texture you're trying to match on your walls or ceiling. You just want to work the repaired areas first, then you're going to feather it out so when you prime and paint it, it blends nicely. So as you see, I'm just working the repaired areas on the new joint compound. You just want to get that pattern. Once you've got it all up, you're going to want to let it set up for about 10 to 15 minutes before you knock it down. Hey, be sure to hit that subscribe button if you want to learn more texturing techniques, drywall, painting. I've got tips and tricks from my over 20 years experience. Just getting the mud up there. I'm going to come back and blend it all in. That pulling technique is what brings the stalactite out. There, I'm blending it now to nothing. I'm taking just a little bit of joint compound and just kind of blending it to nothing. This helps for the final product. Going up this other side. All right. Go over here in this spot. It was just a couple toggle bolt holes. The Knockdown texture sponge, perfect for little spots like that. If you try and spray that with a hopper or a texture can, it's going to be a big mess and it's probably not going to match too well. All right, so I'm dabbing and pulling in that tight spot with the plastic. Just need to get some blobs up. When you knock it down, it'll look great. All right, so I'm going to be using my 12-inch. It's a blue steel drywall taping knife. Going to go real light over the texture. You don't want to push down or put any pressure. Just glide over it. See what it's doing. If it smushes out too much, you need to let it wait to set up just a little bit longer. This is looking good though. It's a pretty heavy knockdown texture on these walls, so you definitely can control what your texture looks like by the time you wait to let it set up. I waited about 15 minutes on this. I'll get this other side. Again, I'm just gliding over the texture. Barely any pressure at all, just letting the knife sit and do the work. I'm going to go ahead and run a fine bead of caulk right there in the corner after I prime. That way it's all sealed up and the caulk will adhere. You want to maintain that 90-degree angle in the corner, but just a real fine bead of caulk. Gonna knock this down real quick over here. My favorite spot. Just gliding. I'm using my 6-inch knife. Gliding over it. Alright, back the next morning, all the texture's dry. So what I'm going to do now is, it's just a little rough, so I'm just going to hit it with my sponge and sand it down, just barely knock the top off, take some of the roughness off. And do the same along the ceiling. Looks like it's going to blend rather nicely. And then I'm going to hit it with some Kills oil-based stain blocking primer just on the repaired areas. One, there was water damage, so that'll seal up any water stains that could come out that might be there. And two, it'll seal up the repaired and retextured areas real good so that it won't flash with the semi-gloss paint that I'm putting on. So I'll shoot some video of the process. Stay tuned. Alright, so I'm going to take my broom and just dust these areas off to get any loose debris or anything before I prime it. I'm going to use a Kills oil-based stain blocking primer to seal the repaired areas in. This will also help them from flashing when I go to paint them. Alright, got the ceiling and the wall areas that I repaired and retextured with the Knockdown texture sponge. So far so good, everything's looking like it's a match. So we're proceeding to the next step, which is I'm going to paint the ceiling. It's a semi-gloss. I'm just going to feather it out into the ceiling. This is a bathroom of a stereo electronic shop for booming cars and stuff. So they're going to be putting a cabinet up here to match the rest, so they're not very concerned over here. So we skip that. So it's looking good. Time to paint. Alright, time to do the first coat over the repaired and primed areas of the walls. I'm using a 3/4 inch roller nap and a grid for a 5-gallon bucket. Goes a lot quicker. I'll be doing 2 coats on the walls of this bathroom. Just get a nice even coat. You don't want to put it on too heavy. I used a 3-inch Purdy brush to do all the cut-in work. Links to all the tools I used in this video down below in the description. I'll leave a link to my most popular Knockdown texture matching video in a card above. Be sure to subscribe to my channel to keep up with all my latest videos. Alright, got that area repaired, textured, primed, painted. Can't even tell it was ever there. There it is. Also did the sponge Knockdown texture on the walls. Can't even see it. There is a medicine cabinet going up right here, so that's going to go away. Ceilings painted, walls painted. Turned out real nice. Customer's happy. Alright, so we'll see you on the next one. Give us a shout. Be sure to check out my video library of over 200 helpful drywall, texturing, and even painting tips and tricks. If you haven't already subscribed, go ahead and hit that subscribe button now. to keep up with all my latest videos. Check me out on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter.